Great guys, good evening. Great to see all of you here. We'll have a RC tips and tricks class today. So this is not a concept class per se, it's an RC hacks, RC tips and tricks, whatever you want to call it. You can label it anything, right? The first portion of the slides is going to be, there are two parts to the presentation. The first portion is how not to think. What are the negative things that you want to take out of your thinking and which should not be a part of your preparation, right? All of us know the importance of RCs, the breakup, the fact that literally factually speaking, out of 24 questions, 16 questions are RCs, right? So that's 2/3 of the exam. So that is how important RCs are. And RC prep is the toughest thing amongst all, right? So all the areas, this is the area which is the toughest to improve or show signs of improvement over a period of time. So we'll discuss a few things. First thing to do, I have a series of things to do that I have listed for you today. So while I started making the PPT, it just transformed from 5, it ended up at a lot more. So I could not end at 5. So I ended up writing a lot more things down. So just kept adding stuff. There is a RC rapid fire series that I'm running on YouTube, right? So these are 3 to 4 minute videos. And I think I've created 8 such videos so far, right? And over the next couple of months, assuming 4 to 5 days a week, right, I'll add at least another 30-40 videos here. So whichever RC problem that anyone is facing, I have actually over the years, I have created an Excel sheet of all the problems that people mention to me. So I have a list of questions with me and I'm answering one question at a time, right? That what is it that you should do? Right. So overall, if you watch the whole series, then it covers everything possible, right? Every day you will have one RC question related and it's 3 to 4 minutes. That's all. So 3 to 4 minutes, one questions related to RC prep will be answered. So for this, all you've got to do is subscribe to the YouTube channel, right? And you will get this video RC rapid fire series on a daily basis, a 3 to 4 minute bit. That is all. And the intention is very simple there. The intention is to communicate all these questions, right? So there are some common questions for RC prep, right? You might not even realize that you face these difficulties, or you might not be able to recognize these in comparison to others. So for example, should you be reading the Hindu? Should you be reading anything else? So anyone starting prep, right? So you might be at this question point because the first thing that everyone says to you, start reading the Hindu. So that's a question. So every coaching center you go to, they'll give you a copy of the Hindu and tell you start reading it, right? Should you do it? Should you not do it? Etc. etc. So all these questions, you can simply go through the playlist and you will get answers to all these questions, right? So that's something that you will be able to do. I'll copy paste the link of the playlist as well here. So that's something that you can do. So this is the first thing that you got to do. So this will help you deal with a lot of issues, right? And there is one more thing that I'm promising you guys. Anyone wants me to answer any specific question, if you don't find your question there related to RC prep, or if you have one question on a daily basis, sir, this is my issue, right? Every question has a 3 to 4 minute answer only at the end of the day, right? So these are, when I'm saying, these are general prep related things. So you can send me that question, I'll create a video, I'll add it to the list of questions. And so if, for example, if someone asks me, I'm just taking up an example, if Charan or Ketan asks me the question today, so I'll bump it up the list and I'll create a video tomorrow for it, right? So that's how we'll go about it, and that's how we'll keep answering your doubts. So that's thing number 1 that we do, and which I want all of you to do, right? Next thing to do is, everyone needs to understand this, and for your VARC prep in general, this is now not limited to RCs, but this is specifically related to RCs a lot, because RC is one area with which we are very, very impatient. The biggest problem with reading comprehensions is impatience. We are just not patient enough for change to happen, for change to take place, for us to learn. Now, remember, VARC prep is a process, right? It is not a thing that you do on a single day and then it's okay. If a lot of us would have suffered this preparation syndrome, any one of you brave enough to share, you can share it in the chat box that you suffer from the same syndrome. We start with a lot of energy, we start with a lot of enthusiasm, with a lot of gusto. We are like, बस अभी तो फोड़ देंगे हम मतलब दुनिया हमारी है, अब तो सब हम ही कर लेंगे, है ना. वो पहला हफ्ता तो बहुत ही हाई होता है, एक्सट्रीम हाई, द फर्स्ट वीक, राइट. And gradually it wears off, and by the end of the third, fourth week of prep, the energy starts to go down, right? And the motivation goes down. So that happens to a lot of people. How many of you gone through these prep cycles? And this does not happen once. So some of you might have started prep for CAT January. Some of you might have started previous year. हार्दिक तेरा तो पता है मेरे को, है ना. तो एनर्जी ऊपर जाती है, फिर नीचे आ जाती है, फिर तो गायब भी हो जाता है क्लासेस में से, ठीक है. फिर थोड़े दिनों बाद वापस आ जाता है. So like तेरी टांग खींच रहा हूँ, आज ही वापस आया है तू. सो सी दैट एनर्जी इज गोइंग ऐसे ना. ये कौन सी वेव होती है? साइन वेव, है ना. सो वो साइन वेव की तरह है यार, ऊपर नीचे. वो जितना पॉजिटिव होता है ना, वो उतना ही नेगेटिव भी हो जाता है, ठीक है. और वो वही पे, और नेट प्रोग्रेस होती है हमारी, ये साइन वेव वाली प्रोग्रेस होती है, नेट जीरो है. ये इतना हाई इतना लो, ठीक है. Another thing that you've got to remember is, why is this happening in the first place? ये हो क्यों रहा है, right? इसका होने का सबसे बड़ा reason, one of the biggest reasons for this is, when you study for 2 weeks, right? And this is basic human psychology. When you study for 2 weeks, you expect results, right? So at the end of 2 weeks or at the end of 4 weeks, when you've studied and you've put in the hard work, you expect your scores to improve. Right? You expect, there is a natural human expectation that I will improve, I will do better, I would have improved, right? And then you would realize that that improvement has not taken place, or you would have inconsistent scores in VRC. You will have inconsistent scores right till the last day. Whatever prep you do, you will still have ups and downs, right? That is going to happen in VRC. You've got to accept that as part of the subject. So then our basic human expectation, then when you see that the results are not happening at the pace that you want, or the fact that you are, every RC that you solve, you link it with your performance in your section test or mock. यार मैंने 10 RC सॉल्व कर लिया, मेरा सेक्शन टेस्ट मॉक में स्कोर बढ़ जाना चाहिए, कोई कोरिलेशन नहीं है, ठीक है. क्या पता 100 RC पे बढ़े, 200 पे बढ़े, 400 पे बढ़े, 1000 पे बढ़े, हमें नहीं पता कितने पे बढ़ेगा. किसी के लिए 10 पे हो जाता है, किसी के लिए 50 पे होता है, किसी का 100 है, किसी का 200 है, मैजिक नंबर, राइट. ऑल ऑफ अस आर डिफरेंट. So whatever your score is in whichever test, whatever you are scoring, whatever you are, for example, we finished the 15 mini section tests, right? We've uploaded those and we've done those, and all of you have, some of you have finished, some of you have done a terrific job. I think Divyansh तूने सारे कर लिए, ठीक है, and सिद्धांत तूने भी सारे कर लिए. So some of you have finished all the 15 mini section tests, right? And some of average scores are 10, 12, 20, 15. सिद्धांत तेरा से 15 है ना? So सबका अपना अपना है. So our way of judging our preparation is correlating with our scores, right? And when you keep doing this, what happens is you lose motivation. That you begin to see, यार अब तो वो स्पीड पे इम्प्रूवमेंट ही नहीं हो रहा है, ठीक है, नहीं करना है, ठीक है. स्कोर जो मर्जी आए, स्कोर बहुत अच्छा है, you score 100% marks in VRC, which is impossible, right? Or you score 0%, right? दोनों extremes पे. Whatever you score, the process does not change. What is the process? You read, you practice, you analyze, you check your mistakes, you read again, right? That is it. That is the cycle that you will keep moving. The whole intent of this cycle is you keep increasing your knowledge base. You keep increasing your knowledge base to the point where what is happening right now is, in tests and exams, things are occasionally clicking for you. When the content is from your area, when the subject is from your area, when the things are from your area, which you like to read, which you understand, and your area means those might be comprehensible to your brain in particular, then you do well and you feel happy. When it is not from your area, when it is not in your comfort zone, you don't do well, and then you think that, nee, this is not working. So neither of those things is happening, right? Our only way, if you almost look at a mathematical way of looking at your preparation, is you have this amount of knowledge today. This is the set of your knowledge base today, right? Your way of increasing this chance of success is to increase your knowledge base to this. Expand your knowledge base. Okay? Once your knowledge base expands, then you will be comfortable with RCs and content from all different areas. These are different areas. Right now, you are only comfortable with this much. So this, in order to go from here to here, to take your limit of learning from here to here, this process is super crucial, right? So you got to commit to the process. Completely disconnect process and results, right? The results will follow on their own. It will take time, but they will follow on your own. So whatever you do, your weekly targets of reading, of solving RCs, for solving questions, for taking tests. And remember, taking tests is a part of preparation. I'll keep repeating this. You got to take section tests regularly. You might have started your prep today, or you might have started it 6 months back. You take tests every week. So that's something that you do. So that these are things that you do on a consistent basis. Next thing that you do is, third thing for you to do is very, very important. This is the crucial stage where you need to identify the topics that you struggle with, right? There are three general bugbears, three general topics that most of us struggle with: philosophy, psychology, and sociology, right? So these are the three most common areas which are troubling, which trouble a lot of people. I don't think any one of you likes to read philosophy. When I say philosophy, I mean philosophy. I don't mean trivial self-help, motivational stuff. Siddharth likes to read philosophy. How many of you read either of these? Philosophy, psychology, sociology, these subjects? Anyone? Is it someone might Nietzsche? That's great, Siddharth. Is some of you might even have it as part of your syllabus? Anyone who has this part of your syllabus as part of your syllabus? Anyone has these subjects as well? Anyone in the class here, or all engineers? सब engineer हो तो सब बर्बाद हो तुम. मतलब जो बर्बादी है सबकी सेम ही है. Everyone is in the same boat. हाँ, तो ये सब क्या करना है? मतलब फिलोसफी, साइकोलॉजी, सोशियोलॉजी वेले लोगों के काम है ना? ये हार्ड साइंस थोड़ी है. ये डिबेट है, पता है, सोसाइटी में. हार्ड साइंसेस में, फिजिक्स, केमिस्ट्री, मैथमेटिक्स में जो लोग हैं, दिस इज एन इंटेलेक्चुअल डिवाइड. दैट हार्ड साइंसेस वाले, आर्ट्स तो छोड़ ही दो, कहते हैं वो तो आर्ट्स तो और एक स्टेप और आगे है. वो तो पेंटिंग वालों को तो और बुरी नजरों से देखा जाता है. ठीक है, जो सॉफ्ट साइंसेस भी पढ़ा रहे हैं ना, तो अकॉर्डिंग टू फिजिसिस्ट, केमिस्ट्स, मैथमेटिशियंस एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा, these subjects are the soft sciences. They're like, they have no practical relevance. The world works on the hard sciences, right? Those are the ones which are actually worth. So the hard sciences, technically the ones which involve, they say they are real science. So their problem with, say, a famous physicist or a mathematician has a problem with these subjects being called a science. So they're saying that this is all bogus. These are all theories. So that's an intellectual divide. There are articles on this, hard sciences versus soft sciences, right? I'll probably share in the coming week one such article, right, comparing the same. But again, depends on which side of the intellectual divide you are. I, for the longest period of time, thought that these subjects were not really valuable or worth it. But now I find these are far more valuable than hard sciences. Again, personal. This is a personal opinion now. I'm trudging into the territory of personal opinions, because the answers for life are found here. Whatever you do, the hard sciences don't give you the meaning of life, right? So the meaning of life lies here. So that's why it's super vital to read these areas, read these subjects. I will be providing these content for these areas. I'll be covering these in the editor's pick section. Tomorrow onwards, I'll be assigning one topic that we will focus on for 2 weeks. For those 2 weeks, we will study that one particular topic. I will give you some complicated texts to read on that topic. There is nothing outside of that you need to read, right? And whatever you do not understand. So for example, I think we had in yesterday or day before yesterday, we had fascism in politics, right? In one of the articles. Similarly, in these books, if there is an economic phenomena, if the book is of economics, or if there is a philosophy theory or a psychology theory or a sociology theory that you do not understand even after reading, please tell me that, right? I will, for these areas, I'll create on-demand videos, right? The point is, I'll not share the book list, Siddharth. I'll share books one by one, and I'll give you specific time to read. So, and I'm giving this everyone an open offer. For example, I give you 2 weeks to finish, say, 2 PDFs, right? If you finish them in 1 week, you can ask me personally for your next topic. So your learning does not have to be dictated by group dynamics. So you can ask me, you can go at a faster pace. सिद्धांत मेरे को तेरे ऊपर थोड़ा भरोसा है, तू ज्यादा जल्दी पढ़ेगा बाकियों से, ठीक है, तू एफर्ट ज्यादा मारेगा, क्योंकि चैलेंज करो यार अपने आप को. मैंने 2 हफ्ते दिया, तुम 1 हफ्ते में खत्म करो ना, और मांगो मेरे से कि अगला टॉपिक दूं, टाइम नहीं है तो आई प्रोवाइड यू 1-on-1, ठीक है. बट और next thing, please discuss with me also which are the areas that trouble you. So I will, if there are some areas you have already identified which are really troubling you, then I'll assign you a set of books for those areas in a specific order, right? I have a complete set of material, and this is not material that you'll find anywhere. So these are not your none of these books is per se a novel. These are all non-fiction. These are all explanatory books which are going to explain these subjects. So all of them are essentially boring to read. So there is nothing glamorous in it, but we have to put in the hard work. So whichever area, target areas that you struggle with, and we will try to expand the knowledge for these particular areas. So this is the next thing that you guys will do. Super critical. Those of you who are preparing for the next year, you've got sufficient time to like cover literally every area in the world. So that's the kind of bandwidth that you've got. Those of you who are preparing for this year, obviously, we will be focused. We'll only do specific texts for specific things. Next thing, guys, what we do is there are some articles, right, which, and this is something that we generally ignore while doing our RC prep. This is something that I always followed when I was preparing, which was a long time back. I generally divide all RCs into 2 kinds of RCs. There is one set of RCs or one set of passages which actually really don't teach me anything new. Okay? I will take up the simplest example for this. If there is an article today, if there is an RC, because this is based on latest news, if there is an article which is based on Maharashtra politics and the split in NCP, split in Shiv Sena, Mahavikas Aghadi government, etc., all those things, right? How comfortable would you be with it? If there is an article on this subject, how comfortable would you be with it? Ketan would be 1000%. What did Ajit Pawar do? Sharad Pawar do? Who is Supriya Sule? The point is you are familiar with it. Agreed? So there is that familiarity is breeding confidence in you. The confidence is bred by familiarity here, right? Familiarity of the topic. Now on the other hand, if I give you existentialism in philosophy, or free will versus determinism, or Oedipus complex in psychology, how comfortable would you be with that? They have like taken it to a complete other spectrum. Now these words that I have taken, these are not vocabulary words. These are concepts. So the point here is, whenever you find such concepts, Israel-Palestine in politics is a topic. Inflation is a topic. How does it work? How does it relate to fiscal and monetary policy? How does it relate to repo rates? How is inflation controlled by the government? That is the topic that has to be studied and understood, right? So what is the inflation figure at 6% or 6.5%? और मोदी ने क्या बोला, राहुल गांधी ने क्या बोला, our honorable prime minister what he said, etc. मतलब फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर ने क्या बोला, वो स्टेटमेंट नहीं इंपॉर्टेंट है, ठीक है, वो तो सब चेंज होता रहेगा, ठीक है, बोल दिया सबने, फैक्ट है वो, बट अंडरस्टैंड करने के हो क्यों रहा है, क्या चल रहा है ना. सो जब भी कोई ऐसी चीज मिले, रुक के, एंड यू विल फाइंड इट इन डिफरेंट आरसीज एम्बेडेड सम इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट्स, ठीक है, व्हाइल सॉल्विंग आरसीज यू विल फाइंड देम. आर्टिकल्स में नहीं, आरसी सॉल्व करते वक्त भी मिलेगा तुम्हें. So please stop and research, right? Everything cannot be researched for you. You've got to do. अब तुम्हें क्या चीज पता नहीं पता, मुझे भी नहीं पता ना. So तुम लोगों को कुछ चीजें रिसर्च करनी होंगी. So this is something that you should inculcate in your practice, right? Fifth thing to do, we will be starting off from the next weekend. I will be assigning you an exercise. We will start off with a target of 30 RCs for a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You guys will do 30 RCs in 3 days, right? You will solve 30 RCs in 3 days from the dashboard, any level 2, level 3 RCs. You will solve 30 RCs over a course of a weekend. A couple of weeks later, you will solve 40 RCs. Then we will take it up to 50 RCs. Maximum is 60. That we will take it up over a 3-day window, right? And we will try to do this at least once every month. I'll give you RC stress testing, RC sprints, intense practice, whatever you call it. This is about what is going to happen is when you solve the first passage on Friday morning and when you solve the last passage on Sunday night, right? You will be fed up by Sunday night. You'll be like, yaar, bas aur nahi karna. I don't want to do anything more. Okay? But and your accuracy is going to drop, or on the same day, Friday morning, Friday night, once you've solved a lot of passages after 4, 5, 6 hours, the accuracy is going to drop, the intensity is going to drop. Whatever happens, happens. Let it happen. We are not really concerned. ठीक है? अगर 25 मिनट पर एनालिसिस दे सकते हो, 2 नहीं दे सकते हो ना, आरसीज इनफाइनाइट है, खत्म नहीं होने वाले. प्रैक्टिस मटेरियल दुनिया में इनफाइनाइट है, ठीक है? तो उसका मत लो टेंशन, ठीक है? जितना ज्यादा हो सकते हो उतने करो, ठीक है? स्ट्रेच में, सिटिंग में. पहले 2 आरसीज बैक टू बैक करना मुश्किल होगा, फिर 3, फिर 4, फिर 5. जब तक इफेक्टिवली, बिल्कुल थोड़ा टपोरी लैंग्वेज में बात करते हुए, दिमाग का दही ना हो जाए, ठीक है? योर ब्रेन शुड बी श्रेडेड, ठीक है? तब तक सॉल्व करना है, राइट? सो दैट यू डेवलप दैट इनहेरेंटली दैट स्टैमिना टू सॉल्व टफ आरसीज, दैट स्टैमिना टू गो एट इट, दैट स्टैमिना टू सिट. अगर 20 कर लोगे ना एक दिन में, तो कैट में जाके 4 कर लोगे, आराम से हो जाएंगे, ठीक है? बट ये बार बार करना पड़ेगा, एक बार नहीं कर सकते. स्ट्रेस टेस्टिंग एक बार ही करके यूजलेस है. इंटरवल डिसाइड कर लो, 2 हफ्ते में करना है, 3 हफ्ते में करना है, 4 हफ्ते में करना है. अभी के लिए वंस अ मंथ कर लो, ठीक है? सिद्धांत, व्हाट यू विल डू इज यू विल पिक अप आरसीज, ठीक है? जो भी तुमने एरिया डैशबोर्ड में से करा हुआ है मुझे बता देना, मुझे पूछ लेना, मैं बता दूंगा कि ये लेवल करा हुआ है तो यहां से कर लो, ठीक है? पहला स्ट्रेस टेस्टिंग का राउंड जब भी शुरू करोगे पूछ लेना, मैं बता दूंगा, ठीक है? क्योंकि तुम सबने अलग अलग चीजें प्रैक्टिस करी होगी डैशबोर्ड में से, ये वाले कर लो. जब वो करने शुरू कर दोगे, जब वो कर लोगे, ठीक है, I'll assign you a set of RCs. We will start with 30 RCs over 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 10, 10, 10 RCs. The next time this should be up to 40 or 45 RCs, and the next time 50 or 55, and then 60. ठीक है? Maximum is 60 over 3 days. So, or if you can't do 60, at least 45, right? So you can increase it in sets of 5 as well. So 30, 35, 40, 45, up to your, I will leave that to your discretion, right? But 30 is the bare minimum number. And if you find that daunting as well, those of you who are not practicing at all, चलो 20 से स्टार्ट कर लो, 3 दिन में करो तो सही, ठीक है? अब तुम्हारा ना फंडा क्या होना चाहिए, चेज क्या होना चाहिए? चेज बड़ा सिंपल है. चेज ना मार्क्स है ही नहीं. चेज है मुझे ना वो 45 आरसी खत्म करने हैं 3 दिन में, 45 करना है, मेरा नंबर 45 है, तो हमने स्कोर्स इररिलेवेंट कर दिए. टारगेट तो 45 पूरा करना है ना, चाहे जैसे मर्जी करूं, रोके करूं, धोके करूं, नेगेटिव मार्क्स लेके करूं, जैसे मर्जी करूं, ठीक है? मुझे 45 पूरे करने हैं, ठीक है? सो हम उस इंटेंट से करेंगे. प्रैक्टिस आरसीज लेवल 2, लेवल 3, वर्ड पंडित आरसीज लेवल 2, 3, 4, ठीक है? दोज आर द 2 लेसन्स दैट यू शुड बी यूजिंग सिद्धांत, ठीक है? जो भी लेवल करा हुआ है, अगर लेवल 2 खत्म कर चुका है तो लेवल 3 पे चले जा, ठीक है? लेवल 1 इज टू इजी, वो छोड़ दियो, ठीक है? लेवल 2 से स्टार्ट करना है ये एक्सरसाइज. सो द इंटेंट इज माइंड का ब्लास्ट हो जाना चाहिए, अपनी लिमिट पे चले जाना चाहिए, एग्जॉस्शन की लिमिट आ जानी चाहिए. जब ये आ जाएगा तब जाके यू विल कंफर्ट लेवल डेवलप हो जाएगा, ठीक है? उस स्टेज पे आ जाओ जब दिन में 20 आरसी भी सॉल्व करने ना, ऐसा लगे कि इट इज अ ब्रीज, ठीक है? कि फर्क ही ना पड़ता हो, 20 करने हो, 25 करने हो, 30 करने हो या 4 करने हो, फर्क नहीं पड़ना चाहिए तुम्हारे दिमाग को. ब्रेन ओवरलोडिंग की प्रॉब्लम खत्म होनी चाहिए. जो हमारी वो प्रॉब्लम है ना, सर रिटेंशन नहीं होता, रिटेन नहीं हो पाता, आगे बढ़ते हैं पीछे भूल जाते हैं, इतना पढ़ ही नहीं पाते, इतनी जल्दी टाइम में कंप्लीट नहीं कर पाते, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. दीज आर ऑल प्रॉब्लम्स ड्रिवन बाय अ लैक ऑफ प्रैक्टिस, राइट? एंड दिस कैन ओनली बी सॉल्व्ड विद बल्क प्रैक्टिस. सो वी विल हैव टू डू दिस. वी विल हैव टू टेक अप दीज आरसी स्प्रिंट्स एंड वी विल टेक दिस प्रोसेस अप. And I am recommending this you from experience, not as a teacher as well. I did this in my preparation, right? Which is like a long time back. It was 2006 when I prepared for the exam as a student. And I used to do this. I used to solve 20-30 RCs in a single day, right? मेरा ऐसे आज RC वाला दिन है, 30 कर दूंगा खत्म, ठीक है? मेरे पास, मैं I was enrolled at Career Launcher back then. आरसी के, और ये नाम भी शायद वहीं से ही है, मेरे सबकॉन्शियस में शायद वहां से स्टक है। करियर लॉन्चर की अब नहीं मुझे पता, तब तो उनकी एक बुक्स होती थी स्प्रिंट्स करके, जिसमें 2-2 आरसी के टेस्ट होते थे। वो 2 आरसी 20 मिनट में करने होते थे, लंबे लंबे आरसी, पेन एंड पेपर होता था। तो वो 20-20 मिनट के स्प्रिंट होते थे, ठीक है। आप और मेरे तो पेन एंड पेपर दिया, जब टेस्ट पेन एंड पेपर था, ये कंप्यूटर के जमाने से पहले है। सो तब द फर्स्ट टाइम मैंने टुक द टेस्ट, सो वो बुक्स में से सॉल्व करना होता था यार, है ना। बुक्स का वो प्रिंटेड मटेरियल होता था, तो वो 20-20 मिनट का स्प्रिंट होता था, 2 आरसी पैसेज होते थे, और उनके स्प्रिंट्स भी लेवल वाइज थे, वो बढ़ते आता था लेवल, मतलब आगे 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 मुश्किल होते आते थे। तो मैं तो मतलब करने का 10 प्रिंट कर देने, ठीक है, आज मतलब कर देने 20 पैसेज खत्म कर देने, 20 कर देने, 30 कर देने, ठीक है, फटाफट। मैंने तो वो 4 स्प्रिंट्स की किताबें थी, मैंने बहुत जल्दी निपटा दी थी, ठीक है। और वो लास्ट तक जाते जाते एक्यूरेसी बहुत ड्रॉप हो गई थी, बहुत मुश्किल पैसेजेस हो गए थे, ठीक है। दे वर रियली टफ, इंसेनली टफ पैसेज एट दैट स्टेज फॉर मी, ठीक है। दिस इज 17 years बैक, मैं भी आई वाज अ स्टूडेंट यार, तो बट पुट माई सेल्फ थ्रू दैट ग्राइंड, ठीक है। सो दैट इज हाउ यू लर्न। सो और कोई तरीका नहीं है, देयर इज नो मैजिक। नेक्स्ट थिंग इज द मेंटल प्रोसेस टू स्कोर्स। I will keep repeating this. Please do not fuss over individual test scores, individual RCs, individual mocks. Do not stress over negative scores, bad scores. Do not stress over that, because अगर वो stress करते रहे ना तो वहीं जिंदगी खत्म हो जाएगी, उसके beyond जा ही नहीं पाओगे। You will be constantly stuck in that infinite loop. हम लोगों का analysis और planning में ज्यादा टाइम चले जाता है rather than doing stuff. So that can only be, अगर टारगेट ही है ना, मुझे नहीं फर्क पड़ता क्या स्कोर आएगा, मेरे को तो इस 3 दिन में 45 आरसी खत्म करनी है, चाहे मैं 0 भी स्कोर करूं 45 के 45 में, ठीक है। मेरा टारगेट था, अगर 45 आउट ऑफ 45 कर लिया ना, मेरा टारगेट अचीव हो गया, ठीक है। मैं तुम्हें लिख के दे सकता हूं स्टैम्प पेपर पे, कर लोगे ना, इंप्रूवमेंट हो जाएगा पक्का करने के बाद। ये 3 दिन के प्रोसेस के बाद जब बाहर निकलोगे ना, तो पक्का स्कोर इंप्रूव हो जाएगा उसके बाद, ठीक है। एवरेज में देयर वुड बी अ डिफरेंस इन योर एवरेज स्कोर्स, राइट, बट वो ग्राइंड में से निकलना पड़ेगा, और उसके लिए यू विल हैव टू पुट स्कोर्स आउट ऑफ योर माइंड। डज नॉट मैटर। मेरे को एक सिंपल सा क्वेश्चन बताओ, सपोजिंग तुम्हारा, अभी हम लोग सिमकैट के स्कोर देखते हैं, है ना, सिमकैट एमकैट देते हैं, मेजॉरिटी लोग सिमकैट एमकैट में एनरोल्ड है, ठीक है। सिमकैट कौन कौन दे रहा है, एमकैट या सिमकैट कौन कौन दे रहा है? देने तो चाहिए तुम लोगों को, सबसे पॉपुलर टेस्ट सीरीज है। अब जो दे रहा है सिमकैट एमकैट, है ना, ठीक है, स्कोर बुरा भी आता होगा, सीएल टाइम आईएमएल सब एक बराबर, बुरे स्कोर भी आते होंगे, फिर लगता होगा फायदा क्या है करने का, मतलब। और एक पॉइंट पे आके बहुत सारे लोग ये करते हैं, ठीक है, वो कहते हैं कि यार वीआरसी तो इंप्रूव हो नहीं रहा, मेरा काउंटर एलआरडीआई इंप्रूव हो रहा है, तो मैं वो पढ़ता रहता हूँ, वीआरसी करो या ना करो रहता तो सेम ही है, क्या फर्क पड़ता है, तो मैं छोड़ देता हूँ, वहां जाके देख लूंगा सॉल्व, क्योंकि वीआरसी में क्वेश्चन तो सारे सॉल्व हो जाते हैं ना। सिद्धांत जो आज सुबह हम बात डिस्कस कर रहे थे कॉल पे, टेक्निकली वो सॉल्व नहीं किए होते तुमने, अटेम्प्ट कर रहे होते हो, तुम गैस मार रहे होते हो, लगता है अच्छा हाँ इसका आंसर सी था, वो एक्चुअली सॉल्व नहीं है, वो तुम्हें लग रहा है, तो 24 के 24 कर लोगे तुम वीआरसी में। मैथ्स वाला फंडा तो है नहीं, मैथ्स में तो है ना कि आंसर नहीं निकला। मैथ्स में सबसे फनी चीज होती है, मेरे साथ भी हुआ, तुम्हारे साथ भी होता होगा, पूरा क्वेश्चन पढ़ते हो, अरे ये तो मेरे को आता है, ये तो मैं कर दूंगा, ठीक है, फटाफट स्क्रैच पेपर पे सॉल्व करते हो। स्पेशली जब एमसीक्यू होता है, टीटा ने तो ये बेइज्जती काफी बचा ली है, एमसीक्यू होता है तब इंटेंस बेइज्जती फील होती है जब आपका ऑप्शन दूर दूर तक आंसर चॉइसेस में नहीं होता, अप्रोक्सीमेशन भी नहीं खेल सकते, मतलब आंसर चॉइसेस है 10, 20, 30, 40 और अपना आंसर आ रहा है 1 लाख, कुछ और ही है, कहीं और ही चले हुए हम। ये भी होता होगा मैथ्स में ऐसा, अगर नहीं होता तो फिर तुम सच नहीं बोल रहे। एनीवन यू सफर दिस, बट 2 कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट आंसर्स, ऑप्शन है ही नहीं, आसपास भी नहीं है, तो अप्रोक्सीमेशन भी नहीं चलता। और अप्रोक्सीमेशन में मैं देखा कई बार धक्का हो जाता है, हम धक्के से कर देते हैं, अच्छा यार ये मेरे आंसर के बड़े क्लोज है, मार्क कर देते हैं, ठीक है, वो भी तुम आ रहा एक्चुअली सॉल्व नहीं हुआ, वो भी धक्का कर रहे हो तुम, ठीक है। मैथ्स में ऐसे धक्के करने मुश्किल है, it is difficult to push the envelope because you still there is a number that you are finding out. Verbal में तो सब लगता है ठीक ही है. जब करा होता है तो आप जब पेपर वर्बल का खत्म करते हो ना, अगर तुमने 24 में से 16 क्वेश्चन करे हैं, मैं आंख बंद करके तुम्हें बोलूँ, अपने दिल पे हाथ रख के सच्ची बोलो, ये जो 16 करे हैं उसमें तुम बोलोगे सर मोस्टली ठीक ही करे हैं मैंने तो. वो तो आंसर की देखने के बाद पता चलता है कि गलत थे. उससे पहले तो बीआरसी में पता ही नहीं चलता क्वेश्चन गलत किया था मैंने. सो ये चीजें सब होनी है, सबके साथ होनी है. तो ये यूनिक एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है. तो डोंट मेक दिस अ फैक्टर ऑफ योर प्रिपरेशन. करते रहो, सॉल्व करते रहो. प्रोसेस इंडिपेंडेंट है इन सब चीजों से. सो प्रोसेस पे फोकस कर रहे हैं. ठीक है. 7th थिंग in VRC to do, please do not get dogmatic about it. There is logic that exists in VRC. There are logics. Don't make too many rules for yourself, but keep learning, be flexible. You will always find questions in VRC mocks all across the spectrum, and this is including my question bank. I am including that as well. There would be issues of interpretation, and there will always be issues of interpretation in the language. It is fluid, it is dynamic, it keeps changing form, it keeps changing form, shape, structure. So please do not get obsessed over specific answers. There would be some specific questions which are 10% of questions in mocks are always too vague to answer, right? So it's okay, let it go. Okay, but there are a few things which are logical, which are consistent. We'll study a couple of things at the end, after the end of the 9 things, and then we are going to implement those, right? So those are rules that you remember. But there is nothing which is you have to be dogmatic about. In English, whatever you do, whatever kind of inference you take out, the complete opposite can also be true. So that is how fluid and dynamic the language is. 8th thing to do, review the answers that you got right. So this is something that we often miss or skip out. There are some answers in mocks that we actually ticked, but we actually did not solve them, we guessed them, right? And we actually count them. So वो लोग बोलते हैं ना हमारे स्कोर्स इनकंसिस्टेंट हैं, कंसिस्टेंसी नहीं है स्कोर्स में. ठीक है. अगर तुम अपने गेस वर्क वाले सारे आंसर्स निकाल दोगे ना अच्छे अटेम्प्ट्स में से, तो तुम्हें दिखेगा तुम्हारा स्कोर ना वही एवरेज स्कोर के आसपास ही घूम रहा होता है. वो जो 2-3-4 गेस ठीक हो गए थे ना उस दिन, उसकी वजह से एट टाइम्स वो एवरेज स्कोर इन्फ्लेट हो जाता है. सो वो एक इशू रहता है. ठीक है. सो हेंस प्लीज द आंसर्स दैट यू गेट राइट, जो तुमने सही सॉल्व किए थे उनकी भी लॉजिकल एक्सप्लेनेशन पढ़ लिया करो, कहीं कुछ मिस तो नहीं कर दिया था. ठीक है. हम जनरली वो स्किप कर देते हैं, छोड़ देते हैं. ठीक है. सो वो भी देखा करो. 9th थिंग in this set of tips, there are 3 other things where you will have to agree with me. ठीक है. You don't have to agree with everything I say. Fact of the matter is, as I said, language is fluid, dynamic, changes forms. Over periods of time, words, they change meaning, they change interpretations. Develop your own thinking, be independent, develop your own process of preparation. Whatever you do, develop a process. Whatever process you want to adopt, right? Does not have to be my process, has to be your process. So please do that, right? बाकी YouTube पे बहुत ज्ञान है. ठीक है. बहुत लोग हैं जो बहुत कुछ पढ़ा रहे हैं. ठीक है. सो वो थोड़ा कम देखो, क्योंकि उससे एक्चुअली इंप्रूवमेंट होती नहीं है. और उसकी जगह जब भी ऐसा टेम्पटेशन हो ना, तो स्ट्रैटेजी वीडियो आया यूट्यूब पे नया, ठीक है, 15 मिनट का, जो तुम्हारा स्कोर कहाँ से कहाँ ले जाएगा. जब भी वो वीडियो क्लिक करो ना, उसको फटाफट बंद करके उसकी जगह एक आर्टिकल पढ़ लिया करो. ठीक है. अपने आप को रोका करो कि नहीं, आर्टिकल पढ़ लेता हूँ, एक वो ज़्यादा यूजफुल होने वाला है. ठीक है. सो एवरीथिंग इज दिस ज्ञान, राइट? ज्ञान को छोड़ के अपना प्रोसेस बनाओ. सो अब मैं एक ऐसी बात बोलने वाला हूँ जो लॉजिकली अगर तुम रियलाइज करोगे वो आज की क्लास पे एप्लीकेबल है. ठीक है. अभी तक मैंने जो भी कुछ बोला है ना, सब ज्ञान था. तो इफेक्टिवली अगर क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग यूज करो तो सब डिसरिगार्ड हो सकता है. क्यों मैं यही बोल रहा हूँ ना. तो इफेक्टिवली मैंने जो भी मैंने अभी तक बोला, मैंने वो सब कुछ खुद निगेट भी कर दिया, खुद ही निगेट कर दिया. ठीक है. लॉजिक तो ये हो गया ना, लॉजिक तो ये बोल रहा है ना, यहाँ पे डिक्टेट कर रहा है. ठीक है. सो विच इज एसेंशियली ज्ञान फ्रॉम वेरीफाइड सोर्स. ये भी अच्छा था कितनी. सो इफेक्टिवली द पॉइंट, आई होप यू गाइज आर गेटिंग द पॉइंट दैट everything is a piece of advice unless until you go and execute things, right? So it won't really make a difference unless and until you are executing. So once you start executing, things will fall into place. So that's the reason for putting this up. Okay. Next thing, that how to improve your prep. There are three things. You've got to do one thing when you solve RCs, and one of those things is when you solve RCs from different sources, you should diversify your sources. So for example, within our course dashboard, right, I'll explain the differentiation to you guys. Some of you might actually not know this, so I'll explain. I'll put this up. There is one lesson, practice RCs, right, dashboard mein. Okay, I'm writing this as practice RCs P. Then there is one which is Word Pandit RCs. Then there is one which is CAT RCs, and then there is another which is RC 99, the one that we'll be starting off with tomorrow, right? RC 99 is, I'll start in the reverse order. The source for this is a popular PDF on the internet, RC 99. I'll be creating video solutions for these. These are not my questions. I have not created them. Wherever there is a problem with the question or the answer or the key, I will highlight that as well, that this is problematic, right? It's borderline dicey. There are some questions there, right? CAT RCs are actually actual CAT RCs. So these are the ones that have appeared. These are amazingly good RCs that everyone should solve. Within our dashboard, what we've done is we've gone one step ahead, and I've added new questions to these RCs. So for example, when you solve the CAT 2008 RCs, I'll divide this into two parts, CAT 1990 to 2008, that is in one lesson, and 2017 onwards. बीच वाले इन्होंने कभी ऑफिशियली रिलीज नहीं किया, तो एक्चुअल पेपर कभी भी नहीं आए हैं, ठीक है, 2009 to 16 के, वो सब रैंडम पेपर है नेट पे. 2007 to 22 we will solve them as section tests, but ये भी एक्चुअल RCs हैं, ठीक है. 1990 to 2008 में तो हमने नए क्वेश्चंस ऐड करे हैं, ठीक है. सो जो एग्जिस्टिंग RCs हैं उन पे जो एक्चुअल क्वेश्चंस थे, एक उनके वेरीफाइड सॉल्यूशंस, जो नए सॉल्यूशंस लिखे हैं, प्लस उन पे नए क्वेश्चंस ऐड किए, सो दैट यू हैव एडिशनल लर्निंग. सो ये सिर्फ डैशबोर्ड से ही सॉल्व कर रहे हैं और कहीं से नहीं सॉल्व कर रहे हैं, किसी बुक से भी नहीं कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि वहां वो क्वेश्चंस नहीं मिलेंगे. ये क्वेश्चन मैंने ऐड किए हैं, ठीक है, उन्हीं पैसेजेस पे. सो ये सेकंड है. अब इनको करने का भी बड़ा यूटिलिटी है, क्योंकि ये कैट के एक्चुअल क्वेश्चंस है, उनकी थिंकिंग रिफ्लेक्ट करते हैं, ठीक है. RC 99 एक अलग टाइप की थिंकिंग है. वर्ड पंडित RCs प्राइमरली मैंने बनाए हैं, ठीक है. 80-90% ऑफ देम मैंने क्रिएट किए हैं, 10% आउटसोर्स्ड होंगे, बट वो भी those were also finally, I would have at least gone through them once, ठीक है. Majority of them are actually made by me over the period of the last 6-7 years. So ये वाले passages में the style of question making is geared towards teaching you things. This is not geared towards testing or scoring. So this is not about RC as a test. This is about learning things, right? Practice RCs, I have taken up these RCs, I have compiled, collated them from across the spectrum, from different tests over different periods of time. I have selected different passages and divided them level wise and written new solutions for these questions, right? Checked, verified, corrected, written new solutions. Wherever I have found that the original question was incorrect, I have made alterations, made changes, etc., etc., done all those things. Again, these questions are not made by me. These are made by a diverse set of people, diverse exams. Completely different people have made these different passages. We can't even go and identify who's made what. Now, when you solve from these 4 different sources, you get 4 types of RCs. Agreed? This is not one single type of RC. You're getting 4 different types of RCs. Now, these 4 different types of RCs are going to offer you different types of questions, right? So there should now be a notebook that you should have, where you have to identify, there is one big category of questions: summary of the passage, main idea of the passage, central idea of the passage, central theme of the passage, gist of the passage, main point of the passage, etc., etc. One question type, right? That what is the main thing in the passage. Wherever you find this question, and whenever you find things which are related to its learning, whichever exercise teaches you that this is what you should think for main idea questions, and or this is what you should think for title, author profession questions, inference questions. These are different languages. Inference, except, all of those are true, except, etc., etc. All possible different permutations, combinations. Have a small notebook where you have different, every page is dedicated, or 2 pages are dedicated to one question type. Whenever you encounter them, whenever you learn something new, keep making notes. that this is what I learned, so that you know that this is a set of things that you've learned from these questions. You will learn this from practice. So identify different types of questions and the approaches, and from those solutions you will learn and vary your practice across these different sources. It is going to help you. Can't solve the same kinds of passage from the same sources, same person has written them, won't help. Hence the diversity is required. Next thing is scope of the passage. This is something which is very, very critical. Always stay within the scope of the passage, right? If the scope of the passage is India, as simple as possible example, your answer choice cannot be about the subcontinent. It cannot be about India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. It cannot be about Asia. It cannot be about the world. India is India. So that has to be the scope. You can't increase the scope. You can't decrease the scope as well, right? Works both ways. Can't be too general, can't be too narrow. So please stay within the contours of the scope. Scope is essentially the subject, what is being talked about. So your answer choices have to remain within the scope of the passage. That's the next thing that you've got to keep in mind for questions. These are universal things that you keep in mind, right? Next is you look at the answer choices. First, continuation of the previous slide, you will find answer choices which are too narrow or too broad. They change the scope of the passage, right? So the passage might be about India, the answer choice might be about the Indian subcontinent. Subtle change. Everything else in the answer choice might be completely correct. Might be the same thing which is said in the passage. Just that one thing is changed, right? Makes it incorrect. Next, be careful of extreme choices. This is a simplest possible thing that you can do. Whenever you find all, always, never, none, etc., which are 100% extremes either way, like 0 or 100, the extreme options, right? Most, nothing, etc., etc., which are like categorical assertions that this is what it is, right? Be very, very careful of it. It is in very, very rare cases that you find such assertions in passages. You generally do not find it. And since you do not find these assertions in passages, it is best advisable to avoid these, right? Hence, whenever you find such a answer choice, please think carefully. Did the passage actually say all of these things happen, or this never happens? And you will realize 99% of the time, the author actually only said some. He said, ye kabhi hota hai, kabhi nahi hota. He never said always or never. So this is a very, very common trick which is used. Third, mismatch in options, where there is a subtle change in the answer choices, where partially the content is the same, right? Now the easiest way to create this answer choice is to pick up something from the passage itself. What happens is our mind gives us this clue that I have read this. अच्छा ये वाला तो पढ़ा था पैसेज में, ऐसी तो वर्ड यूज कर रहे थे, एंड वी गेट टेम्प्टेड टू सिलेक्ट इट, राइट? रीड केयरफुली. कोई इसमें सटल चेंज तो नहीं उसने इंट्रोड्यूस कर दिया? स्कोप का चेंज हो सकता है, ठीक है? बात उसने व्यू पॉइंट ऑल्टर कर दिया हो, व्यू पॉइंट उल्टा कर दिया हो, ठीक है? सो बी वेरी, वेरी केयरफुल जब उसने वर्ड्स डायरेक्टली पैसेज में से पिक किए हो. जनरली वो डायरेक्टली वर्ड्स पिक करके कोई ना कोई एडिट या ऑल्टरेशन कर देगा तुम्हें ट्रैप करने के लिए. हमारा बेसिक ह्यूमन बायस है, हमें जैसी कुछ मिलता है ना जो हमने पढ़ा हुआ है, हम लगता है यार ये तो सही था, ये तो पढ़ा था, तो वो बायस को अवॉइड करना, ठीक है? नेक्स्ट, ये फोर्थ चीज बड़ी क्रिटिकल है, ठीक है? और ये समझने में बहुत टाइम लगेगा, ठीक है? ये अलग अलग टाइप के आंसर चॉइसेस हैं जो गलत होते हैं. फिफ्थ वाला इजी है, इररिलेवेंट आंसर चॉइस. ये वो जो मेरे को लोग क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं बड़ा कॉमन कि सर 4 ऑप्शन होते हैं, हम 2 एलिमिनेट कर लेते हैं आसानी, 2 बच जाते हैं. यार वो जो 2 तुम एलिमिनेट करते हो ना, वो एक्चुअली इररिलेवेंट होते हैं, तो इसलिए वो आसानी से एलिमिनेट हो जाते हैं क्योंकि उनकी रेलेवेंस ही नहीं होती, पैसे से कोई कनेक्शन ही नहीं होता. वो तो बनाए इसलिए होते हैं ना कि तुम 2 में ही फंसो, ठीक है? बाकी 2 में ऐसे कोई एरर्स होते हैं जो तुम्हें ढूंढने, ठीक है? सो अब एक आंसर चॉइस जो सुपर टफ है, ठीक है, आइडेंटिफाई करने में, एट टाइम्स ही विल स्टेट द एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट पीस ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन अकॉर्डिंग टू द इंफॉर्मेशन गिवन इन द पैसेज, बट द ओनली प्रॉब्लम इज इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू आंसर द क्वेश्चन व्हिच हैज बीन आस्क्ड. वो उसको हमारा ह्यूमन बायस क्या कहेगा, यार ये तो था, ये तो बोल रहा है ऑथर, ये तो पैसेज में हमने पढ़ा है, ये तो चीज वैलिड है. अपने आप को हमेशा पूछ लो यार क्वेश्चन क्या पूछ रहा है. एक सेकंड अपने आप को पिंच कर लिया करो, क्वेश्चन ने ये पूछा भी था कि नहीं, वो एस्टैब्लिश करना बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है, ठीक है? सो ये कुछ छोटे से पैरामीटर्स हैं जो तुम अप्लाई कर सकते हो, ठीक है? ये सुपर इंपॉर्टेंट स्लाइड है आज की क्लास की. आई थिंक ये सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट स्लाइड थी, ठीक है? हेंस एट द लास्ट. सो ये वाली चीजें तुम्हें अप्लाई करनी है, ये वाली चीजें तुम्हें यूज करनी है. दीज वुड बी सुपर यूजफुल एंड दीज वुड रियली हेल्प यू इंप्रूव योर आरसी प्रेप, ठीक है? सो दिस गाइस कंप्लीट्स द सेशन फॉर टुडे. the set of slides for today. This was the last slide in the session. I hope you learned a few valuable things today, a few things which are going to help you with your preparation, and you'll be able to apply these. You'll be able to, I'll go back to the slide which is very relevant for the conclusion. You'll be able to apply this ज्ञान, ठीक है तो ज्ञान ही, but apply तो करना पड़ेगा, ठीक है, apply करो and prepare as well as you can. So this is all from my side. We'll be putting a lot of these things, we'll be implementing a lot of these things going forward. So plan to see you guys in further live sessions. Done for tonight. I'll end the recording as well.